Good morning. Welcome to the final conference of the Smart Villages project. A very warm virtual welcome to all of you behind your screens. My name is Anja Lange. I'm a moderator from Germany, based in Stuttgart, and I will be guiding you through this conference. So before we start, let me just give you a couple of housekeeping information and a few technical explanations. So this conference is being held in English, so we do have a simultaneous interpretation into German. To enable this function, please go to the bottom of your screen and click on the little globe, and then you have to select your language and then mute the original language. This is quite important. You can see it here on the slide as well, how it works. And if we do have any videos during presentations, you have to switch back to the original audio because they are in English and won't be translated. If you do have any questions about this or other technical explanations, then please write into the chat, also here in the bottom of your screen. In the chat, there is Monika Eingriber. She's waiting there for you, and she will provide any other information you might need as well. Also in the chat, there is now a link being posted to our LinkedIn group. It's a group where you can connect with other participants, and it's now in the chat. So do use it in the breaks or in between or even after this conference, and do connect with your peers. If you do have any content related questions to our speakers, then please do use the Q&A function, or in German it's F&A, Fragen und Antworten. And there you can post all the questions for the speakers. They will reply, and some of the questions will also be answered here live on stage. One more thing, we also have a poll function for you. So I'd suggest let's try this out together, because I would really like to get to know you better. And the first question is, from where are you joining us today? So is it maybe from Austria, from Switzerland, France, Germany, Italy, Slovenia, any other European country, or a country outside of Europe? And there I can already see it's going, wow, at the moment we have, I think Italy and other European country is the most. Yes, it's definitely another European country than the ones there, and Austria. But I can say ein herzliches Willkommen to all of the German-speaking ones, participants, and also bienvenue to France. Well, that's very nice to know. So we know it works. Our first poll. Thank you so much for participating. So this morning at the conference, the results of the Smart Village project will be presented to the public, to you. And I have to say there were so many interesting projects in all test areas. I hope that you are as excited as I am to find out what the results were and what happened in the past 3 years. Before we start with presenting all the results, I'm honored to introduce to you the president of the Regionalverband Südlicher Oberrhein and also the host of this conference, Otto Neideck. His opening remarks will be in German. So good morning and welcome, Otto Neideck.
Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, ich darf Ihnen allen einen guten Morgen sagen und Sie digital ganz herzlich aus Freiburg im Breisgau begrüßen. Wir freuen uns sehr über die große Resonanz auf die Einladung zur Abschlusskonferenz des Interreg-Projektes SmartVillages. Wir, das sind unser Verbandsdirektor Dr. Dusch, unsere Projektmitarbeiter Herr Akelmann und Frau Bayerle, und natürlich ich als Verbandsvorsitzende. Mein Name ist Otto Neideck. Gerne hätten wir Sie heute in unserer Region hier am südlichen Oberrhein persönlich begrüßt und Sie natürlich hier in Freiburg gerne auch empfangen, um Sie kulinarisch und natürlich auch fachlich mit den Resultaten dieses Interreg-Projektes zu verwöhnen. Die Räumlichkeiten waren reserviert. Die Exkursionsziele standen ebenfalls bereits fest und der Wein für die Abendveranstaltung war bereits ausgesucht. Aber auch ein Jahr nach dem Beginn der Pandemie ist eine Präsenzveranstaltung insbesondere für ein solches europäisches Projekt aus nachvollziehbaren Gründen leider nicht möglich. Das Positive allerdings ist, dass wir durch das Online-Format eine viel höhere Reichweite gewonnen haben und sogar Zuhörer außerhalb von Europa für die Abschlussveranstaltung interessieren konnten. Wir haben Anmeldungen von über 300 Personen erhalten, die sicherlich nicht alle nach Freiburg gekommen werden, aber Ihnen allen kann ich sagen, besuchen Sie Freiburg, besuchen Sie unsere Region und wenn Sie hier sind, schauen Sie bitte auch gerne bei uns in der Geschäftsstelle des Regionalverbandes Südlicher Oberrhein vorbei. Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, ich freue mich auf den heutigen Vormittag, denn 3 Jahre ist das Projekt SmartVillages bereits alt und die Projektergebnisse auf transnationaler Ebene, wie aber auch die vielen Pilotprojekte auf lokaler Ebene, sind nicht nur zahlreich, sondern gut, ideenreich und lehrreich. Ich kann mich noch erinnern, dass wir im November 2017 in einer Ausschusssitzung unseres Regionalverbandes über das Projekt SmartVillages beraten haben und die Teilnahme einstimmig beschlossen haben. Besonders gefreut haben wir uns auch über die offene Bereitschaft, Zusammenarbeit und Unterstützung unserer Projektkommune hier in Löffingen. Damals war das Thema Digitalisierung im ländlichen Raum vergleichsweise noch ein kleines Thema. Seit dieser Zeit hat sich viel verändert, auch in Deutschland. Sowohl der Bund als auch die Länder haben zahlreiche Förderprogramme eingerichtet, die genutzt werden können. Smarte Gemeinden und smarte Regionen sind jetzt in aller Munde und wir sind froh, dass wir dieses Thema bereits früh erkannt haben und freuen uns auch über die Andockprojekte, die wir mit der Gemeinde Eisenbach und Friedenweiler haben dürfen, die wir heute Nachmittag ja vorgestellt bekommen. Die Fachtagung, wie gesagt, findet heute Nachmittag statt. Eine Anmeldung dazu ist noch möglich. Die Pandemie hat dem Thema Digitalisierung und damit dem Thema Smart Villages natürlich einen neuen Schub gegeben. Homeoffice, Homeschooling, Videokonferenzen sind im ländlichen Raum und in den Berggebieten eine besondere Herausforderung. Aber es zeigt auch, wie uns digitale Lösungen auch in peripheren Regionen helfen können und uns zueinander bringen. Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, der Regionalverband Südlicher Oberrhein hat in den vergangenen Jahren bereits an mehreren Interreg-Projekten teilnehmen dürfen. Mit dem Ziel natürlich, ländliche Räume und Berggebiete weiterzuentwickeln. Das Alpenraumprogramm erlaubt es uns immer im engen Zusammenspiel mit Umsetzungsgemeinden vor Ort neue Lösungen auszuprobieren und natürlich von den unterschiedlichen Herangehensweisen der anderen Alpenraumländer zu lernen und zu profitieren. Die Gemeinden profitieren von der Partnerkonstellation, weil sie meist nicht in der Lage sind und die Ressourcen haben, ein solches Interreg-Projekt selber eigenständig als Partner umzusetzen. Und wir als Regionalverband profitieren, weil wir die Ergebnisse im Rahmen des Projektes aufarbeiten und gezielt als Handlungsempfehlung an unsere Kommunen weitergeben können. Das Interreg-Programm unterstützt uns bei unserer nachhaltigen regionalen Entwicklung. Dieses Zusammenspiel hat sich bewährt und wir freuen uns auf eine neue Förderperiode. Eine zentrale Lehre, die ich an dieser Stelle schon vorab ziehen möchte, ist, dass die Kommunikation und der Ideenaustausch zwar aufgrund der Sprachbarriere, unterschiedlicher Herangehensweise, aber auch rechtlicher Voraussetzungen international nicht immer ganz einfach ist. Aber die Zusammenarbeit und der Gedankenaustausch über Landesgrenzen hinweg ist für uns alle sehr fruchtbar. Denn auch dieses Projekt hat gezeigt, wir können in Europa viel voneinander lernen. Der Blick über den eigenen Tellerrand ist immer gut und wir arbeiten in jedem Projekt an der europäischen Integration. Ein Ziel, was nach wie vor für uns alle sehr wichtig ist. Ich möchte an dieser Stelle allen 13 Projektbeteiligten für ihre Arbeit in den letzten Jahren danken, insbesondere den Mitarbeitern unseres Projektes hier vor Ort, aber auch der Stadt Löffingen, hier stellvertretend den Bürgermeister Link, der sich intensiv selber auch eingebracht hat in dieses Projekt. Und ich bin gespannt auf die Präsentation nun der Projektergebnisse. Nutzen Sie den Vormittag nicht nur, um diese Projektergebnisse zu erfahren, sondern auch die Chance auf Rückfragen an die Projektpartner. Ich darf Ihnen für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit danken. Es ist schön, dass Sie alle dabei sind. Vor allen Dingen bleiben Sie gesund.
And I would like to say thank you so much to you, Mr. Nidek. There he's gone already. Vielen herzlichen Dank. Thanks so much. And thanks especially for the invitation to come to Freiburg and that wine. I think we all really missed that, not, enjoying that. Thank you so much.
Herzlich willkommen.
Yeah, so as Mr. Nidek said, such a project wouldn't be possible without partners. So I would like to introduce to you the team of the lead partner of this Interreg project, SRB, the Swiss Center for Mountain Regions. And first, we will welcome Thomas Egger. He is the director and will give us a presentation from the perspective of the EU SOLP, so the EU macro-regional strategy for the Alpine region to smart villages and back. That's his presentation. Welcome, Thomas Egger.
Yes, hello, good morning to everybody. Many thanks for the introduction and many thanks, most of all, to Zürich Oberrhein for hosting this conference and organizing this conference. First of all, I will give you an overview of the project and where it is embedded, because really this Smart Village project is much more than a simple Interreg project. It is a strategic initiative of the macro-regional strategy for the Alpine area called USALP. And therefore, I will talk to you in my function as a co-leader of an action group of USALP. And we have also the other co-leader, which is with us, which is Regione Valle d'Aosta. So maybe not all of you are really familiar with the macro-regional approach. So I just have to explain to some of you what it is. You may know, or you may have heard that the EU said that they didn't want any macro-regional strategy. It is really an initiative carried out by nations and regions. The Commission itself said 3 times no to macro-regional strategies. They said no new structures, no new legislation, no new funding. And now the ambition of macro-regional strategies is to create better cooperation in a multi-level governance, so to turn the no new structures into something positive, to better align existing policies, not creating new legislation, but improve what is already there, and to better coordinate existing fundings. The macro-regional strategy for the Alps was really a bottom-up approach initiated by the impetus from regions, from Alpine regions in 2011. And it went into an action plan, which was elaborated in 2015, and the implementation started in 2016 with rotating presidencies. Slovenia was first, actually it is France, and I suggest that the next one will be, once again, Germany. That's for the history. Now you may know that there are 4 actual macro-regional strategies. You see the one in some red color or wine color in the center, which is the macro-region for the Alpine area. And to have a closer look, here's the territory once again. It is the blue color, and you see that Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg, for instance, in Germany, are both covered entirely, which is a little difference to other already existing cooperation areas like the Alpine Convention and the Alpine Space Program. The Alpine Space Program is fully supporting USALP, and with the Alpine Convention, there's really a close connection, close cooperation. Just also very briefly to show you that it was said it should be no new governance body, no new organization, but nevertheless, nations and regions have to gather. It is 7 nations. It is 48 regions cooperating. They gather together in a yearly General Assembly. They steer the daily business with an executive board, and then there are 9 action groups below working on concrete topics. And here are the 3 pillars of the USALP, which is economic growth and innovation, mobility and connectivity, and environment and energy. And all this is put into practice by 9 so-called action groups. And you see here marked in red one special action group, which is the action group 5, which says we want to connect people electronically and promote accessibility to public services. This is our action group. And this is from this action group that we lead together with Valle d'Aosta that we identified this topic of smart villages and had the idea for this project. So here you can see the action group 5, we really try to make the Alps the forerunners of digitalization in Europe. It is very ambitious. And for that, we have identified in the last period some activities. We started with a project where several of you already participated with Services of General Interest, INTESI. Then we launched this Smart Village project, which comes to an end now. But we are also discussing, for instance, about the fiber optics backbone, about cross-border mobility in the Alpine area, about smart SMEs, and also about the digital accessibility to services of general interest. But you see here the Smart Villages project really at the core, one of our main strategic initiatives. It was really important for us and for USALP as a whole, what was developed and elaborated in this project. Because with this project, we could develop a common understanding and methodology of the Smart Villages approach, adapted to Alpine realities. We could prove the Smart Village approach in practice and also during the COVID-19 crisis. So we could really show that it helps to strengthen the resilience of regions and villages. We also elaborated transferable tools, which can be helpful for other municipalities, formulated policy recommendations, and led the basis for further capitalization. We will discuss about this today. So the Smart Villages project for me has really contributed to a great extent to the profile, not only of the partnership that is here today, but of USALP as a whole. And therefore, USALP decided in this period that we are actually in 2020 to 22 to turn this strategic initiative of Action Group 5 into a strategic priority for all of USALP. Not only for our single action group, but really for all 9 action groups. This is becoming a strategic priority policy area. There are 5 topics which have been identified in the same way. It is spatial planning, a carbon neutral Alpine region, an innovation hub for green business, smart villages, and we're also discussing about an innovation facility to financially support some activities. So you see, Smart Villages is really also now in the new period, one of the major topics of the whole of USALP. And this is also thanks to all of you who have contributed to this project. What does it mean? What will we do in this period, 2022? We try to capitalize on what you have done in the project. We want to turn, the ambition is really to turn as many as possible mountain villages or regions into smart villages and smart regions. Therefore, we have foreseen to elaborate a survey on existing smart villages in the Alpine area. This is already done. We have already done as well a survey on existing financial support mechanisms. We are promoting the smart villages approach in the whole Alpine area. And we are going to create very soon a network of Alpine smart villages to encourage the exchange of experiences. All the bases are already there. And we will launch this network very soon in 1 month on the Digital Alps Conference on 27-28 of May. These are the products that we have elaborated already, which is the survey on smart villages, the survey on financial support mechanisms, and also as some sort of leaflet to show what smart villages are. All this information are mainly based also on findings coming out of the Smart Villages project. They're all available on the website of USALP. And now, what we want to create, first of all, let me say, we have much experience with many Interreg projects, and we know that sometimes when the project is finished, everything is finished. There's no continuity. And this is a loss of knowledge, etc. This should not happen. And our ambition is really now to go ahead, to look also into the future. And one major activity for this is to create this Alpine network of smart villages and smart regions. We will lay the basis today with the charter that we are going to discuss later on. Peter Nieder will explain it to you. And really at the Digital Alps Conference on 27-28 May, we will launch this conference. So this conference should really be a network of the Alpine smart villages and regions to help to disseminate the approach, to foster the transformation of multi-ruralized in the Alpine arc, to encourage the exchange of information and experiences, and also, for me, very important, to transmit, to transpose a modern image of mountain and rural areas. And we want to foster contact with similar networks and initiatives all around Europe. All of this will be launched on the 27-28 May. The program for this Digital Alps conference, you see the hyperlink here marked, is already online. It will be really the starting point for this network. I really invite all the interested villages and regions which are here today. Please join us at this conference and join us at the new Smart Villages and Smart Regions network. This is for you, this is not for us. So in summary, to give you the overview of what I tried to show to you, we started with the work plan of Action Group 5, which was the basis to identify the topic of smart villages. We had the idea to have this project that we are discussing today, the Alpine Space Smart Villages project, which started in 2018, comes to an end now. We have elaborated very helpful tools, very helpful information. Now, this has helped us to say that in this actual period of USARP, this is a crucial one of the 5 topics that we're going to work on. And the continuity should be assured by creating the new network of Alpine Smart Villages and Smart Regions, and also with the, from now on, yearly Digital Alps conference, where we will exchange all this information and all these findings. So with that, I hope that I could give you a sort of an overview where this project is embedded, that is really of very crucial importance, not only for the partners which participated, but really for the Alpine area as a whole. And thank you for your attention, and I give back to Anja.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for the invitation to the conference and also for this overview. Thank you so much. So now we have heard about the macro-regional strategy. Let's dive a bit deeper into the practical aspects of the Smart Villages project. What it was about. We will hear who were the partners and which objectives and results the project has. We will hear that now from Peter Niederer. He is the Vice Director of the Swiss Center for Mountain Regions. So, herzliches Willkommen. Grüezi. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My predecessor, Thomas Ecker, already described the offspring of the Smart Villages project. And it is now my modest task to tell the story of the Smart Villages project in 10 minutes. And this is quite a challenge. So I actually prepared a sort of a ladder game. I would like to move through these different fields. We have 36 months plus 6 months extension makes for 42 fields. And exactly 3 years ago, we started with 13 partners from Switzerland, France, Italy, Germany, Austria, and Slovenia. We started in Maribor. We had the kickoff meeting, and this was actually the high time of physical meetings. So we were very motivated, and we also performed very well. So we moved forward 2 steps, and we defined there, after in a time period of 6 months, we defined 11 test areas all over the Alpine space, and we started with a regional analysis. So actually, in the regional analysis, we checked out where actually the test areas stand at the moment with regard to their regional smartness, and we evaluated the different aspects of the Smart Villages approach, which are actually the mobility, smart people, smart living, smart environment, smart governance, and smart economy. So this was under the lead of our project partner Polyedra. And again, we were successful and moved forward to field 10 months time period. We had the duty, the task to build 9 regional stakeholder groups. So these are groups consisting of representatives of business, academia, civil society, and policy, so that we have kind of a broad anchorage and we could develop project ideas. This was exactly the aim of the regional stakeholder groups: develop project ideas together, accompany the project implementation, then also help in the dissemination of results and help in the networking. So again, everything went according to the plan and we moved forward and developed together with this RSGs 21 pilot activities. Actually, these are concrete activities in the test areas, in the territory. And we had there actually, we always implemented a very participatory approach. And we were also covering different fields, different aspects of the Smart Villages concept. So let's see what comes after. We had the task to create a digital exchange platform. And this was mainly meant for facilitating exchange among a maximum of Smart Villages stakeholders. So to have also the opportunity to upload information, to download information, to participate in chats, etc., etc. And here we have the University of Maribor in charge. Our project partner Maribor was responsible for the setup of the digital exchange platform. So also this worked quite well, and we move forward to the next section, the work package consisting of tools and best practices. There was the University of Ljubljana responsible for this work package. And we had there the challenge to integrate these tools in a perfect manner, in a working operational manner into the digital exchange platform. And we had there to move 3 times, 2 steps back and forth until everything was really working well. The team of University of Maribor, responsible for the DEP, was supported by the software center of Hagenberg and others. So this was a consortium working together and combining the efforts of University of Ljubljana, who was actually responsible for the tools and the best practices. So this was a perfect collaboration between these two, and we will have an insight. You have seen it for sure already on the program. We have an insight on the DEP after the test area presentations. So then everybody knows it, Corona crisis in the 26th month. We have never imagined this, of course, in the project management. And this was a major challenge. We had to think everything in an online format, in an online way, else we would have gone back to the start. So this would have been a terrible crisis for the project. And we took this opportunity to really rethink everything, to adapt our project setting, also our project activities and work. And we succeeded, actually. And then we had the policy conference, which was quite kind of a major event of our project. We developed their policy recommendations, a draft of it. And we had also to go back and forth several times. It was not a very straightforward activity. Let's say first we had to postpone it, then there was the hope that we can do it in a physical format. No, it was not possible, online format. And it was our first really big online conference. And we were quite satisfied with the results. So we also moved forwards and elaborated, finalized 9 policy recommendations to improve the framework for smart villages. And here actually it was the Regionalverband Südliche Oberrhein and the Swiss Center for Mountain Regions which were responsible for this work package, the policy recommendations, the policy conference, the policy policy implementation. So we are today, we have arrived today and on today's field, and we got also a 6 months project extension. In a real ladder game, this would be a punishment, but in our case, it was of course a request to the JS, and it was also, or it is also the opportunity now to really finalize well the implementation of the different pilot activities. Mainly these pilot activities have been hampered by the COVID-19 crisis. Meetings were not possible. We rethought everything in online, but we had also some challenges to do, and it was not really running that smooth as we wanted to have it. So we will have these 6 months more to rush into the finish. And at that moment, we can really say we have put on track all the pilot activities, and I think we can say it already by now, we have performed quite successfully. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hand over to Anja.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Niederer, for this overview. I really love the slide with the snake on it. Thanks so much. So just let me remind you, I've read it in the chat, a couple of delegates have been asking if it's possible that we share the presentation. So yes, the presentation will be shared after the conference. And also let me remind you, if you do have any questions about the to the speakers, like any content related questions, then please do ask them in the Q&A function, so we'll have a good overview about your questions, and don't forget any in the chat. If you want to say hi, or if you have any technical questions, then please in the chat. All right, so we do now have a 10-minute break. Well, actually it's a bit more now, it's 14 minutes. So do grab a coffee and please go to the LinkedIn group. I've seen there are already a couple of members, but it could be more. So click on the link in the chat, go to LinkedIn group, connect. And after the break, we will continue with insights into the Smart Villages test area. So stay tuned and see you at 10:20. Yes, the music is fading out, so welcome back. I do hope you've enjoyed that coffee this morning. So as I've mentioned before the break, we will now get the insights into the Smart Villages test areas. So that means we are going to listen to 10 brief presentations of the Smart Villages test areas and their achievements. But before I introduce to you the speakers, we do have another poll prepared for you. So please do vote now. The poll is: which smart dimension is of most interest to you? Is it smart people, smart governance, smart living, smart environment, smart economy, or smart mobility? You can also answer to multiple things. Yes, there is the results already going on. Well, smart mobility is leading. No, it's actually smart environment. Yes, so we will cover all of those smart dimensions in our pilot activity. So we'll come back to the results in a minute, and you can still continue clicking on what is of most interest to you. So thank you very much. To receive now those insights into the Smart Villages test areas, we welcome partners from Austria, Switzerland, Italy, Slovenia, Germany, France, and I will introduce to you every speaker together with a map on where you can see where the test area is located, and then we go clockwise. So we take clockwise, that's the order we've chosen. But it's like we're starting closest to my home city, I have to say, because we're starting here in Baden-Württemberg in the Löffingen municipality. And here with us is Anna Bayerle. Hello, Anna.
Thank you, Anja, for introducing me, and thank you, and good morning to everyone. My name is Anna Bayerle, and I will present the test area of the Regionalverband Südliche Oberrhein, which is Löffingen. So next slide, please. Löffingen is a small town with almost 8,000 inhabitants, and is located in the very eastern part of the Breisgau-Hochschwarzwald district in the southwestern part of Germany, as you can hopefully see on this map here. And next slide, and please start video. So Löffingen has a core town, and it has 6 further villages that are also part of the town. The loose settlement structure that is given in Löffingen results in typical challenges for rural areas. That would be, for example, how can mobility be guaranteed, especially, of course, for all the citizens. And furthermore, it's important also to mention that Löffingen has an attractive location. As you can see in the video here, also with good precondition, there are a lot of cultural and social activities going on, but there's also a lack of visibility of Löffingen as an attractive place to live and work. Furthermore, I want to mention that as many other towns, there are limited resources in Löffingen of the city administration, and that is an ongoing challenge, not only in Löffingen, to make the administration more effective and more transparent. These challenges that I just mentioned, they were addressed within the SmartVillages project, and in the following, I just want to present some of our most important results that came out of the project. So next slide, please. To address the mobility challenge, the project Citizen Taxi was developed. People living in the town of Löffingen, especially older citizens, for example, if they need to see a doctor, it is possible for them to book the Citizen Taxi for free. They can do it online or also through the citizen office. And the car travels at a maximum distance of 30 kilometers and is run by a team of volunteer drivers from Löffingen and the surrounding. Next slide, please. To make Löffingen a more attractive place to work and live, we together with the city of Löffingen were initiators to establish a so-called innovation lab. We have commissioned a potential analysis that was conducted by experts in the field of co-working, and the goal was to examine how a place in Löffingen must be developed to create an innovative space that, for example, provides co-working opportunities, maybe also a repair cafe, and is also available for local business promotion. And we are really looking forward to see what will happen with that project in the future in Löffingen. Then the next slide, please. One further result of the project is to address the digital administrative service in Löffingen with the goal that these services are getting more efficient. That was a training of a person from the city administration. You can see her in the picture on the slide, and she was trained as a so-called digital pilot. That was done in a 3-day training course where that person acquired specific digitalization skills to support a smart transformation of the digital city hall in Löffingen. And of course, training alone is not enough. It is really important that this person gets further support by the city administration of Löffingen. Then next slide, please, and next result. There were only a few examples that I just mentioned for activities that were going on in Löffingen. All the ideas that have emerged in numerous participation formats during the project were captured in a smart digitalization strategy. And this very detailed strategy is a comprehensive concept for further digitalization steps on all levels in Löffingen in the form of a concrete agenda, as you can see on the right-hand picture here. Then next slide, please. as the Corona crisis has clearly shown to all of us again. And digitalization is essential. Also in rural area, it's really important there. And just to mention two of our most important success factors from our perspective that our project showed is the first one I want to mention that the city administration and also the mayor of Löffing, it is really important that they are involved in the project, that they support the process during the project, and that they stay behind the activities. That means a lot of commitment is needed, a lot of work is needed also from their side. And another success factor that's really important that it's worth to mention is that all actors of implementation project, for example, a private person, but also associations, city staff, external companies, it is really important that they are working together, that they are pulling in one direction together, and also that the internal communication between these actors really works. And if these conditions are given, it paves the way for further successful and useful projects. So far from my side, from Löffing, and thank you very much for listening, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
And thanks so much to you, Anna, for this really nice example of Löffing. So from Löffing, we do take a little road trip to the Bodensee area and Lake Constance, and Caroline Schneid is there for us. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, so hello from the Lake Constance region. As you can see, it's not that far away from Regionalverband Südlicher Oberrhein. At first, I want to give you a short introduction of the region, four-country region Lake Constance. So the region includes some areas of southern Germany, Switzerland, the federal state of Vorarlberg, and the Duchy of Liechtenstein. It combines high-tech ambitions, spirit of innovation, and innovative strength of industries like the food industries, aviation and space travel, or solar technologies. In addition, it is known as an international university location due to a network of 30 universities to the so-called International Bodensee Hochschule, which includes also University of Excellence like the University of Constance or St. Gallen. So you know now a little bit of the region, and now I want to tell you something about our project. So next slide, please. On the next slides, you can see some impressions of our pilot activities, and I will tell you something about our learnings. Through the SmartVillages project, we were able to create a digital representation of the four-country region Lake Constance as an economic and living space, the so-called Standortguide Bodensee. This could and should bring together the administration, but also the citizens and the companies in our region. So it would be visible on social media with this nice landscape. During the Corona pandemic, for example, it was also possible for us to launch the B2B platform. Through the B2B platform, the companies in our region were given the opportunity to offer their portfolio on the platform to stimulate and expand the regional supply chain changes. The second project was with the city of Tengen. In this project, we were able to support the digitalization of an administrative service. In the third project, we did a conceptual design of a digital neighborhood help systems in the city of Arbon. With this digital platform, we would cover all the needs of the neighborhood help system, but also do short ways for the administration, and the locals can communicate on this platform. So it also should help on the onboarding process for new arrived professionals and citizens in the city. Next slide, please. But where were our main challenges in the project? First of all, it was a bit a difficult situation to make all stakeholders aware of the SmartVillages project and to tell them the added value of the participation. To this, it resulted to another obstacle because it was also more difficult to bring together the stakeholders for the individual projects. But how did overcome the obstacles? Next slide, please. We presented the project and the ideas of the project to all the stakeholders, and we asked for the interests and the needs in our region to get this into the project. So when the interests were created, the digitalization projects also have a chance to being implemented in the rural areas. Furthermore, it is imperative that the stakeholder groups be involved in the implementation and in the process and have the opportunity to evaluate the process and the projects. In this way, our stakeholders felt they are being taken into account and had a joint responsibility for the project. So this was a short insight in the 4-country region Lake Constance and the pilot activities we did here. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.
And thank you, Caroline, to you for those nice examples here. So now we go up the mountains into the beautiful Pitztal Valley, where Julia Scharting is waiting for us. Hello, Julia.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Anja. I would like to present the results of the test area Pitztal. It's a very mountainous valley in the western part of Tyrol. You can see with the red dot there. Next slide, please. And it contains 4 different communities. In the back, you see the glacier, and it's really Alpine area with 4 communities. We involved in our regional stakeholder groups different actors, for example, the regional manager, the 4 mayors, the head of tourism, who is very important in the valley, the head of the nature park, Kaunergrad, and also the head of regional marketing platform, Pitztal Regional. Next slide, please. And together with these stakeholders, we defined 3 main topics for the SmartVillages project. The first one was about the topic smart government. Then the second project was about the smart tourism in the region. And the third project about smart mobility. Next slide, please. And in the first project, for us, it was important to raise the awareness for the topic digitalization and smart villages for the mayors and also the people working in the communities, because there was often a lack of knowledge what it means and what it means also for the communities and how they can implement the topic into the communities. Next slide, please. And we started a process with the regional stakeholders where in the first step, we developed a common vision, a strategy, Digital Pitztal. We used interviews with the regional stakeholders, for example, to get a common picture of the region. Then in the second part, we had focus groups discussing which communities tasks were good for the digital transformation in the Pitztal. In the third part, we did a survey on the digital status. That means where are the communities standing, what are they already doing, what can be enhanced. And in the last phase, we did some recommendations for action and a catalog of new measures which can be implemented. And in this phase, we are still working in 3 main focus groups in the 4 communities. And we have some months left where we can implement new activities. Next slide, please. And to show what were in the common strategy, the 4 main points, we discussed the topic of digitally accessible valley. That means, for example, what about broadband and so on, which buildings are connected to it. Then we had the digitally communicating valley. That was how the valley and the communities are communicating to the inhabitants. we had the digital municipality office, which means how the communities are working in the field of digitalization. And we also had the field of Digitally Learning Valley. And for these 4 aspects, we have defined different projects, which can also be carried out after the project. Next slide, please. In the second project, we were focusing on the tourism aspect. We had workshops with the hoteliers in the region because tourism is quite important, and we asked what the digitalization does for the hoteliers in the Pitztal and how they can benefit from this trend. We had invited different consultants and showed them funding opportunities and possibilities how they can enhance their business models. Next slide, please. And the last example was smart mobility. We implemented an app, Umadum, which was from a Tyrolean startup. It was a ride-sharing app. I will show you a video later, and which allowed the people to drive together from the valley, for example, to their working places, which are not in the valley, and which was quite successful in the beginning. But Corona, of course, made it more difficult for such apps. Next slide, please. What were the main challenges for the project? In the beginning, I think there was a lack of knowledge among the actors. What does that digitalization means? And also a lack of ideas or creativity. What should we do within this topic? So it took a little bit of time to have new ideas and to figure out what we can do in the Pitztal with the Smart Villages approach. In the middle of the process, it was quite interesting because we saw that the actors were on different levels of integration of the topic. That means some were more advanced and some were just beginners for the topic. And also the Corona crisis also made it hard for us and the projects, for example, as I already mentioned, for the mobility app, because of course it was not so easy to share rides together in this pandemic. And now in the end, we see, of course, it also takes time, and for the municipalities, they need time and the employees need time to implement the topics. And next slide, please. But the key factors for us, I think, were on the one hand, the time. We had a lot of time in this project to raise the awareness for the topic and to create a common understanding of digitalization, which helped us a lot in the last month. On the one hand, as we already had, Corona was a big problem, but on the other hand, we were pushed to use all these new technologies to work together and to implement the topic in the valley. So it also had a good side. And I think a key factor was also the learning, because we saw in the last month that the mayors, for example, learned to cooperate together in the field of digitalization, and they started to learn from each other. And I think for all of us, it was a very nice success to have this new common understanding and the new form of cooperation. And if you can start the video, then I will come to an end and say thank you for your attention.
Every day, most of us drive to work alone. This means dealing with traffic jams and the never-ending search for parking spots. Are you tired of driving being such a hassle? Us too. That's why we created Umadum. The Umadum app makes ride-sharing fun. And the best thing is, you get rewarded for it. We connect drivers and passengers with the same destination, ensuring fewer vehicles on the roads, reduced traffic congestion, and less pollution. With the Umadum app, you can easily share a ride or get a ride. For every fulfilled ride, drivers and passengers receive Umadum points, which can then be easily redeemed at participating retail stores. All you need to get started as a passenger is Umadum points. You can simply obtain those from your municipality and employer, or purchase them directly within the app. Join Umadum and benefit from all its advantages. With Umadum, you save money, you're insured, you help protect the environment, and support local business. Join the Umadum community today, because together we can get things moving. For more information, visit us at umadum.com. Umadum, you will never ride alone.
Udom, such a cool idea. Thank you so much to Julia again, to beautiful Pitztal. So we now welcome on a remote connection from Slovenia, Tina Beranic from Maribor in Pohoje region. So welcome, Tina.
Hi, thank you. Okay, so we moved from Austria to our beautiful Maribor with our beautiful hill Pohoje. So the next test area that we've focused on within the project is test area Maribor Pohoje. In this test area, we focused on the tourism domain. Actually, we worked very close with our tourist board, so tourist board Maribor Pohoje, and together with them, we actually made an analysis about drawbacks, about the problems that they detecting in the tourism domain. In Maribor Pohoje, we have a lot to offer to tourists. For example, in the winter, skiing in the Pohoje, in the summer, cycling, hiking, a lot of gastronomy offer, for example, also vineyards. And somehow we come to the conclusion that even if we have a lot of offers, we are somehow don't have the offers that can be offered to a tourist as a package. So for example, if one comes to Maribor for 3 or 5 days, we would like to offer them a complete package together with accommodation, gastronomy, all the sightseeing, the sport offers, the visiting vineyards, and so on. Can I get the next slide, please? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so together we decided that we are going to go and try to develop and broaden the tourist networks in our test area. So the goal was first to present what actually is the tourist networks to our local stakeholders. For example, the representative of local hoteliers, the vineyards, the restaurants owners. And first we made a short review, what is available, what are the good practices of existing tourist networks, and first made some definition. So the tourist network is actually a collaboration arrangement among tourist businesses and stakeholders in which there are many positive impacts. If we go very broad, there is a positive impact for the region and also for the stakeholder businesses. And on the other hand, for example, for the tourists, because they can just come and in one package get the whole offer that our test area could offer them. We also sat down with our local stakeholders and listened to their problems, to their drawbacks, what they think there are the biggest problems, how to implement those tourist networks. And in the end, we also prepared a fact sheet regarding the tourist networks that can also be downloaded from the SmartVillages webpage. In the fact sheet, we presented what are the tourist networks, what are the positive impacts, and most importantly, what are the key success factors, and also what are these steps that we have to be very careful when we try to implement the tourist networks. So this is very briefly what we were doing in our test area. Some other things are also presented in the SmartVillage webpage, also within the good practices. And for now, I would like to thank you for your attention and give the word further to another test areas in Slovenia. Thank you.
Exactly, and thank you to you, Tina. Yes, exactly. We will stay in Slovenia, and we are going to welcome Muhammad Tokanovic from the Pomurje region. I don't think I pronounced that correctly. You will do that much better, Muhammad. Yes. There you go.
Thank you, Anya. So, hi, hello. From me, University of Maribor, I will present you the Pomurje region. So just few words about the Pomurje region. It's an area about, it's one of the parts of Slovenia, of course, It has an inhabitant, 120,000 people in this region, and it's the main geographical area and region for agriculture in Slovenia. And that's why within the Smart Villages project, we focused on the digital transformation of agriculture in this area. I will present you two cases which were done within the project. First of all, the case which we worked on, the University of Maribor, and of course one other which our consortium partner Smartis, also from Slovenia, and ICT MSc company was working on. So if we can go to the next slide. The first case which we were responsible for, we call it as it is, a blockchain-based digital transformation of short food supply chain. We have been doing this with our local regional stakeholder groups and their partners. Their Greenpoint. Greenpoint is a short food supply chain distribution center. It gathers already an existing stakeholder of local farmers, distribution centers, and retailers around them. And with them, we worked on the digital transformation of it using a blockchain approach. If we can go to the next slide. The idea was that since they already have the ability to collect local food and sell it to the locals, the idea was that it's enhanced using digital transformation. So what we done, we introduced the blockchain platform, which actually tracked all the steps of the short food supply chain, from the gathering of the local products to the transportation, and of course to the point of selling those products to the locals. So why? The idea was that if the locals are buying from the local distribution center food, that they need to have this assurance that the food is really fresh and it's really produced from the locals around them, and that they need to know who these farmers are. So the idea behind that was to develop this blockchain underlying platform. About that, an ICT mobile application which would facilitate this. And I'm really happy to announce you that yesterday we finally were able to run the first piloting case. So if we can go to the next slide. This is the solution. As I said, we developed a blockchain platform which actually gathers all the data in this whole process, from the picking up from the products to transportation and to the selling of the products. And it's backed up with this ICT mobile application, which enables each stakeholder, farmer, producer, transportation, etc., to actually fill in the data, make pictures, gather as much as data as possible, and sign and verify this into this blockchain platform. So this is a screenshot of this solution. And if you can go on to the next slide, please. Yesterday, we had this first piloting case. And as you see here, the local farmers produce their food. And when they give over the food to the next, let's say to transporter, they exchange these QR codes. Let's say they state and confirm that the food was produced at that stage, it was delivered to this producer, etc. If we can go to the next slide. Here you see what happens when the food comes to the distribution center. Again, using this application, this application actually produces this QR code, a declaration, and this declaration is then put on the food boxes. And if we can go now to the next page, these declarations with these QR codes are then on each of these food boxes. And now when a customer comes to the distribution center, local distribution center of this short food supply chain, they can, using their smartphones, they don't need to have any special application. They just use their camera, scan this QR code as you see here, and this QR code will open a web page, if you can go to the next slide, which shows to the buyer, to the local buyer, the history of this food which he scanned. So the history includes, of course, the product, when it was harvested, when it was transferred, from who it was transferred, etc. So this was our case, which we are really proud of, and the local community is now trying to enforce and trying to encourage this type of short food supply digitalization also to other distribution centers in the region. Okay, if I can go to the second case. This is a case from our also consortium partner, SmartVillages. they have been also in the region of Pamuria. They were having these activities on the topic of our environmental measuring and data visualization storage. So if you can go to the next slide, the idea was that they would build this ICT platform, which would gather this agriculture Internet of Data things into this, let's say, open data platform, facilitated by the municipality of the Murska Sobota, the biggest municipality in that region. And this platform would then enable local ICT companies to gather this information and build their own application on top of this. So farmers would enable a collection of this environmental data, and other companies would be able to use this open data to facilitate this approach into more. And the Smartis company was able also to use all of this knowledge from the Smart Village project to develop other national tenders, as you see here, for the topic of smart cities, community, and smart villages. And if we can go to the next slide, here you see the demo of this ICT Internet of Things solution platform, which gathers this data. And this platform is developed by Smartis. It is hosted by the municipality. The municipality now owns this platform, hosts it, and enables all their stakeholders and all the Pamuria region stakeholders to use this platform and develop upon this platform more. So if we can go to the last slide. In this case, I thank you, and I hope it was an interesting case. This way I finish, and I hope you will join further on. Thank you.
Definitely, Muhammad. Thank you so much. And we'll see each other again soon. So now the last stop in Slovenia is in Kungota Municipality, Padna Village. And I say, dobrodošli to Emilia Stošmenova.
Thanks a
Trying
lot.
my Slovenian there.
Your Slovene is great. Thank you so much, Anya. Thanks for introducing us. So I'm presenting two different areas. One is Kungota, which is actually very close to Maribor, which was presented just earlier. And the other one is on the Slovenian coast, in the highlands of the Slovenian coast. So if we can move to the next slide, both these regions are very small. And the thing that connects them is the winemakers, and both of them are close to the border. So one close to the border with Austria, and the other one with the border with Italy. So their challenge, their problem is that young people are moving from the rural areas, and this is also very difficult for the farms and the winemakers because the most successful winemakers easily move to the other countries. So I will quickly go through what we have done within this project and then conclude with the results and the lessons learned. For us, it was very important, the concept of local heroes. When we started working with this project, it was very important to find locals, people from these areas who will be our intermediaries, so our connecting point with these regions. So when we found out who these people are, then it was much, much easier to implement the whole project. If we can move to the next slide, please. So because the whole point of the Smart Villages project, I don't know why we cannot see the picture here, okay. It was digital transformation, and in both our regions there wasn't a connection to the internet, also because of the geography there, so it was hilly, and many farms, many families did not have access to the internet. So this is what we did at the beginning of the project. We provided Wi-Fi access to the public areas, but also to some private farms and organizations there as well, so that they were connected to the internet and they could gain all the opportunities that digital transformation brings to them. If we can go further, once we had the Wi-Fi access, then it was much easier to continue developing different products and services. So what we did in the region of Šmarje Padna, which is on the coast, we introduced Internet of Things in the vineyards. So we started working in digitalization for agriculture. And this was, yes, Internet of Things in the vineyards. What was for us very important is that this started as a social innovation. So we wanted to see how digital technologies can help the farmers to produce better products, to reduce the costs, and most importantly, to reduce the environmental impact. And once we did the pilot, we were able to attract additional investment from large telecommunication company. So this was a great lesson learned, that something that started from the community, solving a challenge of the community, then attracted additional investment from a large company. So the innovation at this point, it was community-led and not company-led. If we can go further. The other thing is that after we had this introducement of digital technologies in the area, we didn't stop with the Internet of Things, but we continued also with the business models. So these winemakers, they did their own wine hub to provide common marketing, promotional activities and materials. So we started first with wine hubs in each of these areas, but what we're planning to do now is also to combine them together. So these winemakers from Slovenia to come under a common brand and promote themselves in Europe and in the whole world. And virtual wine tasting, this was how we used COVID as an opportunity and not as a challenge. So when COVID started, because the winemakers were not able to sell their products and to receive customers from the other parts of the country or Europe, so they invented this virtual wine tasting when they were sending the wines at the homes of the people, of the users, and then using digital technologies, they were able to present more about the winemakers, to show some videos, and then to have this common wine tasting with people from all around the world. This, I mean, not next month, so in May, we will have virtual wine tasting with regions from all over Europe. So this is a great opportunity for our winemakers to present themselves even wider. If we can move to the next slide. So another thing what we did in the project is it was digital marketing and selling. So meet the local producer farmer, where the producers from these two areas are able to present their products, what they're doing. But for us, it was very important to show more than just what the product is and what they sell, but the whole story behind. So who these producers are, what this means from them, and this way it was not only selling, but it was also somehow to improve the whole local economy and to learn more about the area. So why we really appreciate collaborating in projects like this, it is also because we can exchange experience and practice. And for example, what Muhammad was presenting in his presentation just earlier, we believe that it will be very useful if we can add this application, what they did with the blockchain within this platform. So it will be a great added value and it will mean more than just having this platform. And so if we can go to the next slide. What we are doing right now, and we are very happy, Peter at the beginning mentioned that this project was extended for additional 6 months. So we would like now to continue with our activities and we are testing a local currency within our pilot regions. So why is this important for us is because we believe that local currencies can have a great impact on the resilience of the areas. So in challenging times like this, where people can have this local currency and can exchange services and products between them, even if they don't have financial amounts in terms of money, they can still move with the economy. So first we started with exchanges of euros with this local currency, but what we would like to do in the next step is that we don't even have to have euros, but just maybe to define how much it worth one service, for example, a bottle of wine, and then what does it mean for some social care and so on and so on. So to see how this community will work together. This was my last slide, and what I would like to see to explain more about the lessons learned. I hope that you were able to see how this project, like Smart Villages, was a game changer for our areas. It started with just giving them Wi-Fi access because they didn't have Wi-Fi access. And by having the right people on the right place, then everything started moving forward. So I know that these projects, you don't receive a lot of amounts in terms of funding from the European Union, but still with just small seeds, you can have very successful results. This is one thing, what is the lesson learned. And the other thing is that one project, these projects cannot be isolated, but it's very important if we have complementary projects and if we build on them. So when Smart Villages will end, we don't want that these activities will end as well. But for us, it is very important to have some similar projects so that we can continue our work that was developed within this project. And thanks a lot for your attention.
Thanks, Emilia. That was such an interesting insight, especially the thing about the local currency. Very interesting. I bet there are going to be a couple of questions to you. So from Slovenia now, we travel to beautiful Italy, and Augusta Stengo from Valle del Sol intermunicipality is here with us now.
Thank you. Thank you, Anya, and good morning to everybody. My name is Augusta Stengo, and I'm here representing the Galgenovese Development Agency, partner of the project and head of communication. Our lab operates in northern Italy in the Liguria region. Next slide, please. Thank you. The Valle del Sol test area is a union of municipalities not very far from Genoa, but with public transport problems, especially toward the less accessible hamlets. So we have chosen to propose to these 5 municipalities a smart villages approach on mobility topic. Next, please. Thank you. The first result was been the creation of a regional stakeholder group that consisted in the 5 municipalities, the Public Transport Agency, ATP, and the Metropolitan City of Genoa. The main result was the implementation of a free on-demand transport services called Free Bus in the Park for residents and tourists. It was allowed reaching hamlet and tourist attractions that were excluded from the public transport services route. This service was tested in summer 2020 and involved 9-seater bus. The response from the public was very positive, and the Public Transport Agency proved to be very interested to reproposing this model in the area and adapting it to valleys with similar characteristics. Next, please. The preparatory work that accompanied the creation of the regional stakeholder group was slowed down by various external problems that hit the area: the collapse of the Morandi Bridge, the flooding in the Valle del Sol area, and the COVID-19 pandemic. In this context, we have understood how sometimes difficulties could also constitute an opportunity to face a certain problem with a renewed spirit, addressing them with different methods and tools. Next, please. The most important success factor was the collaboration between local authorities and the Public Transport Agency, which identified a small tool to optimize the service, avoiding empty trips, and provide the resident population and tourists with a more personalized and sustainable service from an economic and environmental point of view. Next, please. Galgenovese Development Agency is also the organizer of the Expo Fontana Buona Tigullio Regional Fair, which takes place in Val Fontana Buona, a mountain area in Ester Liguria region. Next, please. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the event that attracts thousands of visitors every year seemed cancelled, but fortunately an innovative solution was found. The Expo Fontana Buona Tigullio smart digital platform was created. Expotus became a new pilot activity of the Smart Villages project. Next, please. The platform promoted high-quality craftsmanship, agricultural products, and tourist attraction. Artisan and farmers became virtual exhibitors of the online expo. Each exhibitor had a virtual shop able to show his own business, to make the product know and book them through a simple online registration. The possibility of booking a visit to their headquarters by appointment was being offered to the users. In addition to the exhibitors' initiative, have also been included, all of these in presence and bookable online. The tourism promotion, as well as through the events, as carried out with the promotion of restaurant business. Next, please. The first result has been the creation of a new stakeholder group that involved 2LAG, a company of digital services, and 2 Expo committee. The second result was the strengthening of the regional stakeholder group with 70 municipality, association, business, and citizen involvement. This model has been replicated in other nearby areas of the internet as a good practice on other local events. Exhibitors were satisfied with this digital tool. They declared they would like to replicate this experience for the next year as a support to the traditional fair in presence. Next, please. In this case, the challenge, the COVID-19 pandemic, generated innovative pilot action. The success factor were being the individuation of a subject that dialogue with regional financial authorities, the Liguria region and Genoa Chamber of Commerce, the presence of specialized human resource, and last but not least, the continuous dialogue with the area, that in our experience is the key factor for the success in every project. Thank you for your attention.
Grazie, Augusto. Thanks so much. And we move now on to France. The next test area is in France, in Royan-Vercors Intermunicipality, and Claire Bellet is with us.
Hello, everybody. Well, I'm going to tell you about the story of the Smart Village experience in France that took place in Royan-Vercors area, which is located in the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region. This territory was chosen in early 2019 among a group of more than 50 Alpine region actors that was gathered by our organization ADRE. Within this territory was chosen because it was already composed of a very strong network of actors, very active within lots of collaborative projects, and where digital transition and the improvement of services to the public was already a very present concerns. Within 2 years, ADRE could supported the development of some new services, starting with the self-assessment of the territory and the help of the definition of some strategic actions that could meet some local lacks and problems as mobility challenges and lack of public transport, but also the digital training of people and access for all to the devices. So for the next slide, please. So 4 new services were launched that I will present you afterwards, but 3 key results can already be retained from our support to these experiences. First, the Smart Village approach could really increase the awareness of the challenges of the digital transition of both local policy deciders, professionals, and inhabitants that were involved in the process and project of pilot activities. Second, we really pushed to combine the strategic reflection with action almost immediately that could mobilize energies of the people and the project groups to work together and to work together on small steps and achieve visible results quite quickly. And third, of course, the key importance of partnerships and new models of alliance and hybridization of economic models to think and build these new services and pilot activities. Next slide, please. So, few new services could have been launched, among which shared electric car service, also a service for providing a fleet of electrical bicycles device that could be possible for within this 6 months extent of the project, And regarding the digital challenge, a digital local platform form was launched within a wiki model. So you may know, of course, Wikipedia. So the local group decided to build a territorial wiki. And finally, the deployment of the digital social lab activities within a former industry facility. Next slide, please. To finish with, and before starting the video, I would say that the support of these pilot activities could really draw some strengths of the Smart Village approach. First, the inter-territorial cooperation to draw inspiration and support from what already exists elsewhere and can work and can be adapted locally. Second, the awareness of the right to try for local players and to experiment. And finally, very good knowledge of the local players to build actions on their strengths and the confidence created with them to work with them. We were very happy to support this territory, also among a lot of Alpine territories that could follow the adventure. Some are present today, so hello everybody. And we were satisfied also with some partnerships and very active participation of the region's partner, Auvergne region first, Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur Sud region, Bourgogne-Franche-Comté region, the French state within French Alpine Youth Alpes presidency last year in 2020, where we could organize an event that occurred in Vercors to make people discover these pilot activities. So I invite you to travel with us for the 3 remaining minutes in the Vercors and to listen to their words about the Smart Village challenges and vision. Thank you for your attention. I'll be available for any further information.
Je suis ravie de pouvoir démarrer avec vous ces 2 jours de rencontres européennes, les rencontres Smart Village, les villages intelligents pour la transition écologique et l'attractivité de la région alpine, c'est comme ça qu'on les a intitulés. L'association ADRE, Association pour le développement en réseau des territoires et des services, s'est donné pour mission d'accompagner, d'appuyer le développement et l'accessibilité des services au public dans les territoires ruraux et de montagne.
Bonjour à tous. On est ravis, vraiment ravis, fiers et reconnaissants de vous accueillir ici aujourd'hui. Je voudrais vous faire partager un petit peu ma passion pour ce territoire, pour ses habitants.
Contrairement peut-être à certains clichés, la montagne a toujours, depuis que l'homme l'occupe, démontré sa capacité à s'adapter en permanence au milieu. Cette notion d'innovation, elle est vraiment au cœur de l'histoire même de ces montagnes. Les territoires ruraux, c'est aussi la capacité à faire ensemble.
L'idée, c'est de cohabiter et par cette cohabitation d'amener autre chose qui est vraiment de l'ordre du lien, de la rencontre, du partage de savoir-faire, de coopération, d'imaginer des projets communs.
Où effectivement on a un besoin à la fois de réfléchir sur les transitions et le changement qu'on doit opérer en matière de mode de développement économique.
Voilà, je trouve les solutions ici, en fait. L'accompagnement de la transition numérique, c'est beaucoup plus large que ça. C'est aussi s'adresser à des TPE, à des artisans, à des habitants, aux jeunes.
Donc c'est vraiment une nouvelle source d'emploi potentiel et d'activité dynamique.
Merci l'équipe de la Jolie Colo pour la visite de ce lieu.
J'ai la conviction, nous avons sans doute la conviction, en se retrouvant ici, que c'est ensemble que nous pourrons aller plus loin, par le partage des expériences, au-delà d'ailleurs de nos frontières. Nous avons fait le choix de capitaliser sur nos acquis, de partager nos expériences pour poursuivre, pour amplifier, pour innover aussi.
So this is what is going on in Vercors, and now we would like to find out what kind of projects are in the Luzern West region, and Alexander Siegenthaler is here already with us. Welcome, Alexander.
Hello, thank you, Anja, for the introduction. Our region, Region Luzern West, lies in the heart of Switzerland. It's a beautiful landscape with mountains and hills. But because of all these mountains and hills, all the fast trains and highways, they have been built around us. So we have nowadays a big disadvantage in most of the traffic infrastructure. Next slide, please. Well, we just saw beautiful pictures from France. And at the PSC meeting in Saint-Jean-Royan in France in March 2019, we got in touch with La Fibre pour tous, fiber optics for everyone in Ardèche-Drôme. It's a project they are currently working on. We learned that the basis for digitalization is a fast internet. And the basement for fast internet is a fiber optic infrastructure, the traffic structure of the future. Next slide, please. So after our return home, we learned that in our region, in most parts of our region, there is no fiber optics. It's less than 1% of this traffic infrastructure of the future. 1 month later, in April 19, we had a kickoff meeting to launch a pilot project in one of our communities in Lucerne. The goal was to establish fiber optics for every household in the community. Next slide, please. So we faced a lot of challenges, but the main challenges were to raise awareness in the public for the need of fiber optics. We had several technical and legal problems, and we have marketplaces in fiber optics who don't want to invest themselves in rural areas like ours, but they don't like it when others do it. Next slide, please. The keys to success in this project were a professional local council who was committed to the idea of fiber optics for everyone. I think this is the most important point. And we had a professional communication, and we had a very good teamwork in the pilot project and a professional project management. Next slide, please. Well, to the results. In last year, in May 2020, the people of Luton voted for the realization of their own fiber optics in their community. They agreed with a credit of 3.6 million Swiss francs. That's around 3.2 million euros. Next slide, please. And another very pleasant result is that today, 9 kilometers are already realized, as you can see by this hardworking man there in the field. And by the end of 2020, at the beginning of 23, every household in Luton will have fiber optics. Thank you. Yeah. And another result is that based on these very good experiences of the pilot project in Luton, we started a new project to establish fiber optics in the whole region. So our goal is today that we want to establish fiber optics for every household in our region. So we have this infrastructure of the future in our region. Thank you, Anja.
Yes, that is definitely a goal that is very necessary, fast internet. Like even me here in the middle of a big city, I don't have fast internet sometimes. So thank you so much, Alexander. Last but not least, the next speaker, we already know him. It's Peter Niederer, and he is going to introduce the projects that were going on in Wallis.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Now, perfect.
Okay. Back again. Okay, a short insight to pilot activities in Upper Valley. In Switzerland, we just saw a map, a chart. Actually, it's a part of a southern canton with quite a large surface. The Upper Valley, there were 5 pilot municipalities which were involved into pilot activities. And I will be quite short with my insight into test areas, because there will be also a video at the end of my presentation where a local stakeholder has the opportunity to show a bit more in detail which challenges and opportunities they experienced. So next slide, please. Co-working spaces in Saas-Fee and Ernen have been developed in these 2 villages. I have also to say that those municipalities, they are quite small. They have around 500 inhabitants. Saas-Fee is an exception. Perhaps you have already heard about this quite touristic hotspot. It has about 1,200 inhabitants. So there we developed the idea of co-working spaces, and actually core teams have now already been established and localities also found. As I mentioned already before, there will be a short video at the end about the co-working space of Ernen. So in this slide, you see other activities we actually triggered in the test areas. All municipalities introduced kind of digital marketplaces or, for example, also applications, municipality applications. So the digital marketplaces, they are a bit more interactive than the applications. A digital marketplace is almost like kind of a Facebook for a village, where the people and the administration municipality administration have the opportunity to exchange information, to offer services, to give feedback, etc., etc., etc. So actually, it was these tools were very effective and have proven really their effectiveness during the COVID-19 crisis. It opened a new or an additional communication channel for the municipalities. Okay, next slide, please. Then Vierschotal, the smallest municipality of these 5 test areas, introduced a meter-to-cash process, smart metering, which means that we have a smart electricity meter. It receives metering results of other meters, like for water or for gas, and transfers the information, the measurements to a central. These measurements or this information is been evaluated and also the bills are centralized and then provided by the local energy provider to the households. So this has many benefits for the municipality administration, for the households, for the energy provider, and also for the environment, because we can introduce with this measurements also an analysis tool to measure the consumption very effectively, and also to planify energy measures, energy saving measures, and also to planify the infrastructures. So with the next slide, we start the video of the project of the co-working space of Ernen. Please start the video.
SmartVillages hat unsere ehemalige Gemeindepräsidentin kontaktiert und sie war eigentlich sofort begeistert von diesem Projekt. Sie hat es an den Gemeinderat eingebracht letztes Jahr. Also wir haben mal eine Bedürfnisabklärung gemacht, ob überhaupt ein Bedarf da ist bei den Einheimischen und bei den Feriengästen, und das Echo war eigentlich sehr positiv. Und letztes Jahr im Herbst hat dann noch der alte Gemeinderat und jetzt auch im Januar der neue Gemeinderat entschieden, ja, wir machen dieses Projekt Coworking Space hier in Ernen. Wir werden dieses Coworking Space im alten Schulraum einrichten. Ab September können wir dieses Coworking Space dann dort einreichen. Wir müssen noch einen Verein gründen, auch um die Finanzierung sicherzustellen, aber die Gemeinde steht eigentlich voll hinter diesem Projekt. Also die Herausforderung ist wirklich die Finanzierung, weil wir haben ja die Lokalitäten, auch die ganze Reinigung und so, das ist eigentlich kein Problem. Für uns als kleine Gemeinde, wir sind ein bisschen mehr als 500 Einwohner, ist es natürlich eine rechte Investition, so ein Coworking Space einzurichten. Ich bin dann selber nach Zürich gegangen, dort gibt es verschiedene Coworking Space in Hotels oder bei einer Bank. Ich wollte mal schauen, wie die das machen, und mir war eigentlich sehr rasch klar, dass 15, 20 oder auch 30 Arbeitsplätze oder Coworking Space Plätze, für das besteht kein Bedarf hier in Ernen. Was mir aber auch aufgefallen ist und was ich sehr gerne hier dann umsetzen möchte, ist, dass wir einen stimmigen Coworking Space haben. Wenn die Leute dann 6, 7 Stunden oder den ganzen Tag dort arbeiten, dass sie sich auch wohlfühlen und dass sie auch wieder kommen. Wir möchten eigentlich mit dem Coworking Space ein zusätzliches Angebot zur Verfügung stellen. Nicht unbedingt für die Einheimischen, aber zum Beispiel für die Jungen, die nicht mehr hier wohnen, zu den Eltern zurückkommen. Zum Beispiel sagen die, okay, ich komme jetzt schon am Mittwoch und ich gehe dann am Donnerstag und Freitag im Coworking Space, und auch für die Feriengäste, die hier in Ernen sind. Viele Wohnungen haben noch keinen Anschluss am Glasfaser, und das können wir dann natürlich kompensieren. Es kommen rund 75 Musikerinnen und Musiker nach Ernen. Viele kommen auch mit ihren Partnerinnen und Partnern, und die arbeiten teilweise auch. Und das war zum Beispiel immer ein Bedürfnis, gibt es eigentlich ein Coworking Space. Wir haben auch Konzertbesucherinnen und Besucher, die pendeln teilweise, die sind so begeistert von Ernen. Dann geht es ja morgen nach Bern arbeiten, kommen dann zurück. Und jetzt, wo Homeoffice angesagt ist, können sie natürlich auch hier in Ernen bleiben, dann hier arbeiten und am Abend das Konzert besuchen und müssen dann nicht immer hin und her pendeln.
So in the past hour, we've heard now 10 presentations from all the test area. I think myself is very interesting to hear about all those different cases. I mean, there was everything, I don't know, from blockchain to city taxi to digital vineyards, and also introducing a new currency. All those who presented. Thank you so much. Very interesting, your presentations. So now we actually do have another break for 10 minutes. So please again, use the time, grab a coffee, make yourself a sandwich, and we'll see each other back at 11:40. And don't forget the LinkedIn group. See you. Welcome back, everyone. Nice to have you here with us again now. The following section will be about the transnational project results. So before the break, we got to know all the different results from each test area, but obviously those results, we also want them to be best practices for other regions and villages to learn from. So how, we're going to find out in a second, but first, let me introduce to you another poll. So please don't hesitate and click and vote now. The question is, are you aware of SmartVillages digital exchange platform, the toolbox, and the smartness assessment procedure? So yeah, the new one exactly is about the SmartVillages digital exchange platform, the toolbox, and the smartness assessment procedure. Are you aware of them? Yes, and I've used at least one of them is one of the answers. Yes, but I've never used any of them. Or no, but I'll make sure to check them out. I'm going to wait a little bit till you've all voted. It's actually so nice to know that so many people from across Europe, from even outside of Europe, are with us here. I would love to see you in person. It would be so nice here out of my home office. All right, so our results are no, but I'll make sure to check them out. And actually, Gianluca is already smiling, I can see, because I think exactly this is, well, it's kind of a good result, because you now will get to know more about this in the presentation from Gianluca Lentini from Poliedre, Politecnico di Milano, and he will present the results of the transnational the transnational results from the SmartVillages project. And he will also give us a little recap of the pilot activities that were in his responsibility. And you're going to find out what the success factors are that you will need. So Gianluca, hi, welcome to the conference.
Hi, Anja. Good morning to everybody. Buongiorno. My name is Gianluca Lentini. I work as a researcher, a senior researcher at Politecnico di Milano, Poliedre in particular. And I have got the pleasure of showing you some of the success stories of the pilot activities. Can you see my presentation now? Yes, I think you can. First of all, let me thank you, Anja, and Regionalverband Silke Oberrhein for managing and hosting this. And yeah, let's quickly move in a visual recap of the test areas. We are missing Oberwallis, but it's just missing in the picture, not from our hearts. It's located here. So you can see all the beautiful mountain areas and rural areas that have been presented to us over the last hour or so. So when did we start reflecting? Where did we start to reflect on what a smart village is and what smartness means and what a smartness transformation entails? Well, we started in Milan, not exactly a rural village or a mountain areas. SmartVillages has been, since the beginning, the story of a very successful cooperation, I must say. Cooperation among the partners, but also cooperation between the partners and local test areas, as you all have been able to appreciate so far. The Milan meeting, which we held at the end of November 2018, hosted by the region of Lombardy, helped us to structure the process aiming at involving local stakeholders. But most of all, it helped us to define what smartness is and how we can assess it. A smart village is a community-based approach that involves local communities and make them more aware of the opportunities they have, especially thanks to digital innovation and to information and communication technologies. Test areas have organized and animated regional stakeholder groups involving local actors in a quadruple helix logic. Quadruple helix is a fancy name to say that in these regional stakeholder groups, policy makers are involved, academia is involved, business is involved, and citizens or citizens organizations are involved too. Test areas have cooperated in creating the smartness assessment procedure, which has been proposed by us at Poliedra, and have assessed their own level of smartness and set aims for the project. You have seen in the different test areas the aims they had, either smart mobility, smart tourism, smart environment, and so on and so forth. The smartness assessment procedure has helped them set those very aims and proceed in pursuing them. Of course, test areas were hit, as the rest of the world has, by the COVID-19 pandemic. And during last year, during what we sadly must call just the first lockdown, we collected some good practices and success stories that has shown us how resilient and how ready for change our rural and mountain areas are. You can see also a wheel here, is the wheel of the 6 dimensions of smartness that have been mentioned before. The dimensions of smartness are smart environment, smart economy, smart living, smart mobility, smart people, and smart governance. The smartness assessment procedure has been integrated in the Digital Exchange Platform, DEP, which will be described later by my colleagues from ADRE, SCCH, and the University of Maribor. You can see the link where you can access the smartness, the Digital Exchange Platform, and in particular the smartness assessment procedure. The smartness self-assessment allows any village, village can be not just a municipality, but a well-defined area in a rural or mountain location, to self-assess its level of smartness by administering a survey of 4 questions for each of the 6 dimensions of smartness, being that economy, environment, governance, living, mobility, and people. By applying a decision support system that calculates scores in each of the 6 dimensions and globally. So each village can self-assess in its level of smartness in the 6 dimensions and globally. The self-assessment procedures also encourage the compilers to upload good practices in the dimensions in which they are smarter or more advanced. And they encourage to read and learn about good practices in the dimension in which one village is less smart. It allows mapping villages by proximity and similarity, and it is linked with the project Toolbox that has been created and managed by the University of Ljubljana for participation and involvement methods, as well as for the implementation of effective actions. An example of a result of the smartness assessment procedure comes from the beautiful area of the Valle del Sol in the Genoese Apennine mountain areas in Liguria, Italy. Our experts were Augusto Stengo, who spoke before, and Sara Pastorino. They compiled the survey together with us, and the results they got are shown here. Basically, all these numbers indicate us that the most important areas in which Valle del Sol aimed to work in were mobility and living. And for instance, mobility and living resulted as the 2 main dimensions in which our audience today is interested into. It wasn't done on purpose, but it worked out pretty well. The identification of weaker key areas has led to the successful identification of good practices and actions to be implemented and co-designed by the regional stakeholder groups. All smart villages test areas have done the smartness assessment procedures together with us, have set aims, have proposed these aims to the regional stakeholder groups. This has helped local areas to advance, set aims, and create and implement effective actions. Of course, smart villages is a hot topic, and smart villages during COVID-19 has been even hotter. You can see an event here, Smart Villages, a European agenda is urgently needed for rural areas after the COVID crisis, which was co-organized by the EU Committee of Regions and the Rural Smart Villages Intergroup at the European Parliament in November 2020. We discussed there how the COVID-19 crisis, of course, has exposed and exacerbated the consequences of a number of threats faced by rural areas, and has added to the urgency for rural revival in regions across the European Union. On the other side, however, the pandemic has encouraged more local consumption, production partners, remote working habits, has increased the importance of quality of life, and developed new forms of mobility, which may open new opportunities for sustainable jobs and growth in rural and mountain regions. I have presented in this very important occasion some of the good practices coming from the partnership of smart villages that were really appreciated and that become part of the European Union family as a result. Smart villages success stories at a glance. I would like to say to everybody that smart villages transition is feasible, and it is a great opportunity for rural and mountain areas. Our test areas have shown how feasible it is. It is not easy, it is not immediate, but it can be done. We've also seen from our test areas how some good, smart transition actions that have been implemented in one area are now being exported in other areas. That is a good success of the project, in my opinion. Smart villages can be in relation with themselves and with the urban areas. They can be considered as equalizers, or areas that aim at offering the same work and life opportunities that urban areas can offer. Even better opportunities in a pandemic context, where rural and mountain areas are perceived to be safer. Smart villages can be linkers or hubs for services in rural and mountain areas. Smart villages can be partners, as areas cooperating with urban areas in the provision of services and economic activities to the populations. In all cases, and we've seen very much so today, smart villages can conceive themselves, do conceive themselves as active players. They want to shape their own future. They want to maintain rural and mountain areas livable, lived, attractive, and possibly re-attractive for all generations. Keeping our rural and mountain areas lived and attractive means keeping century-long cultures alive. It also means safeguarding the environment to the benefit of non-urban and urban areas alike. These reflections about smart villages as equalizers, linkers, partners, or players can be found in an event that was organized by the European European Week of Regions and Cities in 2019. Smart Villages Overcoming the Divide Between Rural and Urban Areas. I've put the link over there. Well, that is all from my side. I'd like to thank you for your attention and to encourage you to be smart, stay smart, become smarter, and of course, stay safe.
What a nice closing statement. Grazie mille, Gianluca. Thank you so much for those success factors and all those lessons learned that you told us. All right, so now you've heard all those lessons learned. We want to find out how the DEP, the Digital Exchange Platform, how it was created and how it developed from the test areas. So I would like to welcome 3 men who have been involved in this. First one up is Guillaume Ducan from Adret. Then we have again Muhammad Tokanovic. You already know him from the University of Maribor in Slovenia. And we also welcome Dr. Jorge Martinez Gil from the Software Competence Center in Hagenberg. So welcome to all 3 of you.
Thank you very much, Anya. So I'm Guillaume Ducan from Adret, a French NGO, and we're Package 2 leader for the Smart Village project. I will just introduce that first presentation. I will share my screen. Here it is. Okay, so as Thomas Egger said, the purpose of the project was to create common understanding and methodology about that Smart Villages notions. And here we are as the leaders of the Work Package 2 and responsible for the digital exchange platform, trying to present you how we have gone from the test areas and old practices present in the different countries from the project to a collaborative digital exchange platform. And for that, I leave the floor to Dr. Mohamed Tokanovic from the University of Maribor, who was responsible for the technical implementation of the platform.
Guillaume, thank you. Hello again to everybody. I'm just gonna shortly introduce the concept of the digital exchange platform. So early in the beginning of the early stages of the project, we realized that the exchange platform, even though it would be digital, will be neglected by the majority of the public because it would be, let's say, perceived as just another digital portfolio gathering some let's say, information which nobody wants to use and doesn't have time to use. So in the early stages of the project, we turned the page around and we came up with a digital tool called the Digital Exchange Platform, which we re-identified, re-envisioned. And this digital tool was supported by a well-taught methodology, which was also initialized by Gianluca Lentini, who spoke previously, and Poliedra. And this methodology does actually not request anything from the public, but actually it provides something to the public. And this something which this digital exchange platform provides is an easy assessment of for the people who want to first of all assess if they are smart. And as it was already proposed and mentioned today, there are these 6 digital and smartness dimensions which we coined. And for people from the rural communities to actually start using this exchange platform, we wanted to give first something to them, and we were giving them the ability that they can assess how smart they are. Because we realized that if we present to the communities, the villages, rural areas, whoever this is, ability to assess themselves and information how smart they are, and also show them some information how comparable they are with possible others, they may be, let's say, triggered to go a step further and become smarter. So in this case, we re-envisioned the digital exchange platform to enable this smartness assessment based on an easy solvable questionnaire, which results with some results of your smartness. And based on these results, the questionnaire, the respondent is then asked to give possible good practices if the digital exchange platform identified that the respondent and his rural community is smart in one dimension. And of course, the digital exchange platform, besides asking the respondent to give this good practice, the exchange platform would provide him with other good practices in the areas where the digital exchange platform and the assessment realized that their community wasn't maybe so smart as it may be. So in this case, we said that we want to present you the digital exchange platform and with a video that our project developed. So maybe Guillaume, if you play the video. So to conclude, the digital exchange platform is living, and we encourage you to visit our platform. I pasted the link of the DAP into the chat. Everybody is free to browse around, to check it out, and try to assess yourself and try to get some suggestions of good practices. And also, if you have time, provide us and all of the Europe with your good practices. Thank you, and I give the floor to Jorge.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm Jorge Martinez. I work in Software Competence Center Hagenberg. We have been supporting University of Maribor to building some mechanisms in order to give more richer functionality to the DEP. In fact, we have been working in a matchmaking process that consists of recommending or suggesting to the user different good practices or different methods that could be useful for them in order to raise their level of smartness. I mean, at the end of the smartness assessment process, the user will get some results, as we can see on the screen, and these results will be categorized, and we will say to the user, oh, you have some aspects that are very critical to improve, some aspects that could be nice if you are improving, and some aspects where you are really good. So after this process, we will calculate your smartness score, and we will give you some links to the good practices that are in the DEP, as Muhammad has explained, but also some links to the toolbox. That this is a platform created by University of Ljubljana, where they have a collection of methods very well documented that could help you to do some activities and to pilot some processes in order to help villages to increase the level of smartness. Finally, I wanted to mention that all the data that we are using is compliant with the European laws. We are not storing data that can identify a person, because this won't be allowed by European authorities. So all the data are completely anonymized, and we are sharing them through the platform. There are many researchers policymakers, stakeholders, they have contacted us in order to use the data. Of course, this is a European project. All the data we are working with is available for you, for your research, for your activities. You can make good use of it. And yeah, that's all. If you have questions, we will be very happy to help you with them. If it's not today, it can be during the next days. We are still working for adjusting things in the platform, and we will be very happy to help you. So thank you very much.
Okay, so I will take the floor for the last two slides. This was about leading the Smart Village community. We talked about the DEP, but we think really animation is the key factor for those Smart Village community. And this is the real matter that make a process successful. So about that, the DEP provides, like Jorge told, adapted animation tools through the toolbox. You see now quite classical ones like brainstorming with Post-it on that photo, but there are also much more interactive ones like World Cafe, or a more formal one like SWOT analysis or objective trees, or very structured and quite big methodologies like the charrette workshops. So there is a lot of tools you can use and adapt to your project in the digital exchange platform through the toolbox. Second thing I wanted to focus is the role of digital tools. In the Smart Villages project, like it has been previously said, digital tools are very important, but we are very careful about giving them the right place. It's just tools that can help the projects either to know the other experience through the all European space, or help in those times of lockdown to avoid certain problems of contact, or to avoid mountain distances and time distances. So these are very interesting, but we should keep them as tools, as other animation tools. And the main intention of that slide is saying people are the more important in the Smart Villages project. And we wanted to focus on two things. People are the local heroes of the Smart Villages community. If you don't see yet those videos, I invite you to go on our project website and see all the local heroes videos made previously by University of Ljubljana and then other stakeholders from the project. And equally, we think a new job is emerging through that Smart Village approach between facilitating digital and data skills and mediation with the citizens to ease those Smart Villages processes. And last one is about the spreading the digital exchange platform towards Europe, like we do on that morning. There was 3 challenges. The first was how to maintain that platform after the end of the project. So I really want to thank the University of Maribor, who will be hosting the project and the digital exchange platform for the next few years. Because there has been a lot of work to make it very easy to use. Also with that video tutorial you just had a look. And so the digital exchange platform will be maintained throughout the next years. Second challenge was how to make it known. Thomas Egger told you about the Smart Alps network. I think those kind of networks can really be the good way to make it known all over the Alpine space and even into all Europe. And equally, there have been in the consortium of the project a lot of high level and researchers with different universities and laboratories, and there has been yet different scientific publications around the SmartVillages digital exchange platform and smartness assessment, and different presentations, as Gianluca said. So it is quite a process that has been launched, and that should continue through different presentations. And last thing, to make it known, I would really thank the members of European Network for Rural Development. We had contacts with us, and the SmartVillages digital exchange platform should soon be available through the SmartVillages portal from the ENRD side. So this is quite a good news for us. To make it visible from that very, very rich resource that is the SmartVillages portal and the different elements of the ENRD website. And last challenge was the appropriation of the digital exchange platform. So as Mohammed said, we are very welcoming you to use the self-assessments for your own territories, to have a look to the good practices existing on the SmartVillages digital exchange platform, but also to add your own ones. This is very simple through the good practices submission form. And that can enrich the all that material about SmartVillages. And as Jorge said, you can also reuse all the results that are available, either raw data and all the practices through the SmartVillages digital exchange platform. So I really want to thank you for the participation and having a look at our presentation, and our presentation is finished.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Guillaume, Jorge, and Mohamed for this presentation. It's a lot of work, introducing something like that. I can totally imagine, but amazing results. Thank you. So our conference is actually nearly over. We've been presented with so many amazing results from the past 3 years. It's incredible. We've learned how important it is to be digital and smart. But also there needs to be a certain commitment now to, from all parties and participants to really develop this all further. And I would like to welcome now again Peter Niederer from the Swiss Center for Mountain Regions, the SRB, for a closing statement. And this is pretty important, he will also present to you the SmartVillages Charter. So which aims does it have, what kind of commitment and appeal lies behind it. So pretty excited, and the last virtual applause now for Peter Niederer.
Yeah, thank you, Anja, for this almost, I would say almost closing statement, but I remain with the very honorable task to do this, and also to present the charter to you, to the audience. And actually, you attended today this conference, and you witnessed the achievements of the SmartVillages project, be it the regional analysis, the concrete project implementations, the competence building in the territories, the knowledge exchange on the digital exchange platform, and also our input into the policy level. So I think there is really a big bunch of achievements, and we want to give continuity to this. Now it's the next slide. We want to give continuity to these achievements, and we want to do it. Our wish is to do it with a charter. We developed this together with the USAB AG5 Action Group. And this charter should express our will to continue working on the topic of smart villages in the Alpine region, and to exchange on experiences in a dedicated network. This dedicated network is the so-called Smart Alps network, already having been presented by Thomas Ecker. So The charter consists of two parts, actually, mainly two parts, the commitment and the appeal. So the signatories of the charter, which means the municipalities, the regions, these are considered as potential signatories. They advocate for the smart villages approach. So they make kind of, to make it happen in their villages, in their municipalities, in their regions, but also in other potential smart villages and smart regions. Then they commit, they have to be committed to communicate the achievements of the Alpine Space Smart Villages project, also via, for example, the digital exchange platform. And then they have to be committed to be part of the Alpine-wide Smart Alps network. So with the call, the signatories, they are called upon to, they do the call upon the public authorities at the European, Alpine, national, regional and local level to actively support the smart villages approach. They also call upon other smart villages and regions to join the network. And they also work, lobby into the direction that USALP and its governing bodies to continue their work on smart villages. So what are the next steps? Shortly after the conference, we will send an invitation to potential municipalities and regions to sign the charter. We will have an extra file, an extra page to sign this charter and send us back the scan. And then they will also be invited to the Digital Alps conference, as it has already been mentioned in the presentation of Thomas Egger, on the 27th and 28th of May 2021 to join the Smart Alps network. Besides, we are, of course, in the partnership, we have also the will to continue with our project activities. There was also the question in the chat, how we want to proceed with that. And we are actually evaluating at the moment which initiative or program could be the appropriate container for follow-up activities. So at this end, I remain with the honorable task to say thank you. Special thanks go, of course, to the partnership, to every partner. Every partner contributed with his activities to a common effort in order to achieve our goals, and we really achieved them. We had nice and really nice results, and we can share them. We want to disseminate them. And then also special thanks go to USALP and the Action Group 5, in particular to Thomas Egger. He was always a very, very valuable connector between the USALP AG5 group and our consortium. And he gave relentless support to our project activities. So I remain with these words, and I would also like to close the final conference with these words, and I would like to hand over to Anja for further explanations for the afternoon. And I wish to say to you, stay safe and sound, and see you next time in a more physical format. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Peter. Yes, that would be so nice if we could soon see each other again, and also drink one of that wine that was promised by Otto Neidig in the beginning. Thanks, Peter. So I think Peter already said everything, like thanks from my side as well to all the project partners, to all of the speakers that presented their results here today. I've learned a lot. It was really interesting to get some insights into all the different regions and villages. Because a lot of people ask, let me just repeat that we will provide the presentations for you after the conference on the website smart-villages.eu. So this is where you can get all the presentations, have a look when you have a minute, and yeah. As Peter said, the conference of the Smart Villages is now over. However, this afternoon we do have another symposium, the Smart Land event. It is a German conference. It is being held in German, but we do have an English translation. And Smart Land is like a German sub-project of the Smart Villages. So if you say, okay, I just can't get enough and I would like to know more now and would like to spend my afternoon as well here with us, you can still register for the event. Just click on the link that has been posted just now in the chat. So I maybe see you this afternoon. I hope to see you. If I don't see you anymore, then let me say a big thank you to you as well. You've been an amazing audience, even if I couldn't see you, but I could feel that you were so active answering all those polls and asking a lot of questions. Thank you very much for your attention. And I hope also there was some applause for us. We just, you know, we imagine it. Here is mine to you. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. Stay healthy. See you soon. Bye. Thank you.